Vegans lie. They lie to you. They also lie to themselves. Why? Let's talk about it. It all has to do with how they feel about their friends and their families. Now, many of them lie because they're not even actually aware that they're lying. They're just so deep in cognitive dissonance themselves, they can't cope with the reality, and so they're unaware that they're lying. But others are just straight out lying because they don't want to make the vegan movement look bad, and they want to make you look better than you actually are. It's sort of all about this concept of people are good, but they just do bad deeds, right? This is what we're told to say all the time. If you have a friend or a family member who deliberately goes out of their way to buy a bird, and that bird will remain in a cage for the rest of his or her life, and you bought this bird as an object of entertainment for yourself, does that make you a good person or a bad person? Choose one. Now, we're not talking about the kind of people who rescue a bird who has a broken wing and they take care of that bird for the rest of his or her life with a lot of love and affection. We're not talking about those kinds of people. We're talking about people who do selfish things, not selfless things. So if you ask vegans, do they think that Hitler was a cruel person or a good person? They will all say he was a cruel person. Straight out, without hesitation. But if you ask them if their own family members and their own friends are cruel, without hesitation, they will say, no, of course not. Why do they do that? Why do they lie about that? If your so-called friends and family are paying people for the rape and the torture, the kidnapping, the confinement, and the murder of innocent animals, how on earth can you justify that and say that these are good people? Especially after you have talked to them multiple times and told them exactly what happens in the meat, dairy, and egg industries, in the fur industries, and so on. The truth is that you can't. You can't call them good people. Good people don't do terrible things like that repeatedly, day after day, week after week, month after month. This is not an accident. This is a deliberate act to pay for such cruelty. If you ask vegans if other people who are eating meat that are not part of their family, that are not part of their tribe, if they are cruel for paying for this violence, they will say yes. But the second that you ask them about their own families, they stop. They hesitate, especially if they're being filmed. Why is that? Why is there a moral inconsistency there? How is it that vegans can say that Hitler was a terrible person for stripping down individuals and bringing them into gas chambers, but when their own family members pay for 6-month-old baby pigs to be murdered in the same way, somehow that seems to them to be excusable? I assert that it's not. There's no excuse for animal abuse. Animals have a right to live and to be free. Not in cages. If somebody is out there stealing the eggs of a duck, a swan, an eagle, or a robin, that makes them a cruel person. It is not something that they have to do. The same goes when they eat the eggs that come from chickens. People who steal from others who have done nothing wrong to them ever are not good people. Whether you are Hitler or the average person who lives next door to you, or your boss, or your employee, or your brother, or your sister, or your cousin, or your mother, or your father, if you are somebody who pays people to hurt innocent animals, you are not a good person. So why is it that vegans are so afraid to admit this? Well, the truth is that we have a hard time coping with this fact. We have a hard time coping with the fact that people who do otherwise good things in our lives who are kind to us. If we fall, they pick us up. If we're sad, they'll talk to us. And if we need money, they will give us money. The truth of the matter is that if we have people like that in our families, we have a hard time imagining that they are bad people, even if they have the corpses of animals right there on their plates. We somehow just pretend that's not happening, but it is happening. And they are not kind people at their core. Why are they doing these kind things? For selfish reasons. Because they know that if they need money one day, or if they fall, if they are sick, you will be there to help them. Truly good people are those who are kind to those who will never be able to thank them. The reason that vegans lie is because we live in a vegan-phobic world. A world that is so difficult to be vegan in, to be an outspoken activist. Vegans are ahead of their time. Vegans are from the future. They are a breath of air from the future. In some ways, vegans are superheroes. In some ways, they're just everyday people who struggle in this world to do the right thing. Vegans used to be like these guys, just your average person, eating meat, just completely unaware of the violence that goes on. Until suddenly, they meet somebody whose eyes have been opened, a vegan, an ethical vegan, who doesn't eat animals, doesn't steal milk from them, doesn't steal their eggs, doesn't wear fur. It takes 100 clicks to be vegan. That's a click, a light bulb moment. When they hear the word, and they see the people, and they see the food, these are all clicks, until one day they change. But then they still have their family and friends around them with purchases of dead animals on the table, and they have to try to cope. And it is very, very hard for many people, especially kids, to acknowledge that their own parents are actually not as kind as they thought they were. When people become vegan, they see the world differently. They see a pigeon, and to them, a pigeon is the same as a chicken, deserving of freedom. Hello, little one. But their families aren't there yet. They still eat chickens and turkeys and lambs and cows and pigs. And so these people, these new vegans, they lie to themselves and they say, yeah, my family's good. And no, my family aren't mean. Because they just hope so much that their families will become vegan. It's just a matter of days. It's just a matter of a few weeks. It's just a matter of months. It's just a matter of years. Sometimes they wait for years and they still lie to themselves. I'm just saying, it might be time to tell ourselves the truth. It might be time to shut the door on those people, to just admit that our family and friends are not who we thought they were, and they never will be. On the other hand, you can keep lying about it. Tell everybody that your family and friends are great people. You can say that they are vegan at heart, and they'll be vegan soon, because you never know. You might need a kidney one day, and they might be a perfect genetic match. So maybe you don't want to cut ties off completely. But just so the rest of you know, this is what is actually the truth. If you're not vegan, one could even argue that you are worse than Hitler, because he was crazy. Everybody knows it, but we know that you're not crazy. Yet you make the same choices to hurt the innocent, and not just one time in your life, all the time, 3 times a day, repeatedly. Privately, many vegans will tell me that they're extremely disappointed with their families, and they say that they will never say so publicly. They won't. They'll call out all kinds of other people publicly, but not their own family members. But in private, they talk about how distressing it is, how shocking it is, how disappointed they are. The moral of the story is this: vegans don't really want to lie. They just want you to be better than Hitler. So do it. Rise up and be vegan with your family members and with your friends. Be a hero to them. You can do it.
Let's follow that vegan teacher on YouTube. to write down